Hello and welcome to One Trinity Place in San Antonio, Texas, as we're set for a great Game 2 between the University of Whitewater and Trinity University. Hello everybody and welcome to San Antonio. I'm Cole Isaacson, joined by Luke Terry. Luke, it was not a good game for the Tigers in Game 1. They fall 14-3 to Wisconsin-Whitewater. What do they need to do differently?
Well, I talked about it extensively yesterday on the podcast. It was just an awkward Thursday game here to switch around and start things out late. Friday starter almost always pitch on Friday. They tried to adapt yesterday. They had some guys kind of stitched together a performance out of the bullpen, but we got the start. It's not something that it's usually going to do. So I think the rest of this series, these last three games, probably more so what we're used to.
As the first pitch is a ground ball, the Colt Harris fielded cleanly, and the first batter retired.
Very similar start to what we saw yesterday. Not immediately pitching contact, just fighting right there. One pitch, one out, good way to instill confidence after a performance yesterday that was incredibly impressive for this Warhawk offense.
Now batting second, Adam Kootway fouls the first pitch off from Pfeiffer. Kootway, 6 at-bats yesterday, reached base 5 times. Hit by pitch twice, 2 singles, and a walk, as he faces Luke Pfeiffer, the junior from Valencia, California. Ball one high.
The one time he didn't reach base yesterday, he very nearly did via another hit-by pitch. Kind of an awkward ruling. The umpire saying that he stuck his arm out there and got called out because of it. Right now, Pfeiffer having a much better approach.
1-2 pitch. Outside, ball 2. Kootway, obviously a very dangerous hitter for Whitewater. Bat .477 last season. That was the 6th best average in the country. High, ball 3.
Last 2 pitches made the difference in Pfeiffer's start, although it's early in yesterday's performance. This is a lot closer and very competitive as opposed to yesterday when the staff as a whole really just struggled to throw strikes.
Full count to Kootway. 1 down in the inning. Grounded through the hole. And Kootway aboard with a 1-out base hit.
That one, Pfeiffer looked to his era behind him. Just shook his head. I think he likes the way that he's able to execute in that situation right there. Kootway, a very nice at bat, falling behind, but taking a couple of pitches just outside the zone. Forced Pfeiffer's hand. That situation could go this.
And they'll check on Kootway. Kootway ran twice in yesterday's game, was caught stealing once. Also recorded a stolen base as Matt Skolin stepped into the batter's box for Whitewater. Ball 1 outside. This Whitewater lineup pretty much exactly the same as it was yesterday. A substitution at catcher, but other than that, they're keeping it rolling.
After yesterday's performance, I don't blame them.
Strike called.
Two very similar pitches from Pfeiffer right there. Maybe a little bit of frustration. The first one wasn't called a strike. It goes back to some of the public play.
So check on him again. Pfeiffer in his 2nd start of the season. Started Game 2 against Babson. In the game where the Tigers had to come back. Exited the game when it was still 3-1. Pitch outside, ball 2. As we talk about that game against Babson, a very different game throughout. When he was in it, it was becoming kind of a pitcher's duel. He goes 4 innings, allows a 2-run homer to give Babson the lead, as that's fouled off by Skolin. But Babson takes the lead off of Pfeiffer, eventually extending the lead to 5-1. Tigers able to come back, make it 5-5, and then everything just blew open offensively. And we'll see what type of game this one becomes. Both of these offenses capable of putting many runs on the scoreboard. In the dirt, 3-2, as Lazera keeps it in front of him. Kootway stays where he is. He checks on Kootway again. Second consecutive at-bat for Whitewater. That's gone to a full count. Kootway was able to reach the last time that happened. There's strike 3. Skolin goes down looking, and there's 2 down in the inning. That's ball 1 outside to Eli Frank. Frank started his day 0 for 5 yesterday. Ripped into right center. Peterson going back towards the wall. It's going to fall. Kootway at third base now rounds it. He's coming home. No throw. And it's 1-0 Wisconsin-Whitewater. RBI double for Eli Frank to start his afternoon.
Yeah, and Frank a little slow to get going in yesterday's affair. One of the Warhawks that was held hitless, I think the first 3 or 4 times through the order. He finally got a hit to his name late in the affair, wasting no time here in this one, and wasting no time are the Warhawks able to get on the board first. Just really hard hit ball the opposite direction, even with those flags flying in here in San Antonio. Trying to keep it in the air for Peterson, but it got down rather quickly.
It's now the dangerous hitter, Sam Patton, up for Whitewater. Patton 2 home runs in yesterday's game, driving 6 all of last season. One point in the game, he was 5 for 5. Ball outside.
But yeah, it's something we talked about yesterday as well, Cole. And we hinted at it. I think they go hand in hand, really. It was a pitching staff that struggled to throw strikes for the most part yesterday. And when they did find the zone, there were just some mistakes that this Warhawk offense capitalized on big time.
Strike 1 called, outside edge. As the top of this Whitewater lineup just had their way yesterday, particularly hitters 2 through 5. Trinity trying to avoid another rough start. Takes it 3-1. Two down, a runner on second for Whitewater, already up 1-0 in the top of the first. High, ball 4. The first walk handed out by Luke Pfeiffer, and there's 2 aboard with 2 down for the Warhawks.
Yeah, and Pfeiffer needing to just settle back in. Very hard hit ball off the bat of Frank, but he did a nice job starting this one off, coming out, retiring 2 of the first 3 hitters here in the top of the first.
That's now the catcher Nick Lazera running out to have a meeting with his pitcher. 2 of the first 3 batters retired for Whitewater, but they've been able to reach after that, opening up a 1-0 lead. They still have 2 aboard, an RBI opportunity for Thies. Second baseman hitting 6 today. Low ball 1.
I think those first 2-3 batters, even with the walk, or excuse me, I guess that single through the left side in there in the middle of the things to Kootway, Pfeiffer looked really, really confident. I think now things change. Frank hits a double to deep left field.
Lined and fair. In the corner, one run comes across. Runner at third will stay where he is. An RBI double for Thies, and it's 2-0 Warhawks.
I was trying to say, as I was very rudely interrupted right there by this Warhawks offense, is that that double right ahead of facing a guy like Patton just changes the complexion of the inning entirely. Right, you get hit hard. You have another guy that has proved already here to start his 2024 campaign that he has a lot of pop in his bat in his own right. Don't want to give him anything really good to hit. You put him on base, continue to struggle to find the strike zone a little bit, start that at bat off to Thies with something outside the zone, and then he's ready to capitalize again once you try and find it. Looked like it was a very hittable pitch out over the plate, and Thies just pulled it down the line, able to capitalize.
2-0 as that nearly gets Jackson. Darryl Jackson, who in 52 at-bats last year, hit .462, .635 slugging. Just shows how potent this Whitewater offense is from top to bottom. Jackson hitting seventh today, working with a 2-0 count. Now 3-0. Things started pretty well for Luke Pfeiffer, retiring for 2 of the first 3 hitters. Since then, unraveling a bit. 2 runs already across, 2 more in scoring position. And he loses them. As the bases are now filled with birds, and Tim Scannell's going to come out to have a chat.
And just an awkward inning, because you're right. Looked very, very strong, confident against those first 3 hitters. And it's a pretty loud double straightaway center field that just changes things. Walk the next batter, leave something else up in the zone for a hit down the line that very nearly wound up a foul ball. All of a sudden, 1 out away from it. Instead, here, still in a similar spot, you have the bases loaded and the Warhawks continue to threaten.
Bases loaded, still 2 down, as there has been for quite some time. As the meeting is adjourned on the mound. Bases still loaded, 2 down in the inning. It's Whitewater trying to open up a big lead in the top of the first. Up to bat now, it's Aaron Holland making his first career appearance for Whitewater. Ball 1.
I think the awkward thing is, you look at those first 3 batters, you know that Pfeiffer has the stuff today. It's just a matter of regaining that confidence. Clearly awkward and difficult to do when you have as much congestion on the base paths as he does right now.
That's ball 2 inside.
Looked like a very, very close miss.
Pfeiffer falling behind once again. Will try and regain command of this at bat. There's a strike.
Yeah, similar part of the plate on the inside right there. Good to be back in it, but cannot afford to make any mistakes. Has to keep that fastball down and away.
Just misses. 2-1.
I think the unfortunate thing, seems like he's found that release point again. Really nice breaking ball right there. Just off the plate, competitive pitch. Just doesn't get the call and puts him in a bad spot here. 3-1 count.
Strike called. Brings the count full. Already a big moment in this game. Whitewater up 2-0. Bases loaded. Tigers dropping the opening game in this series. It would be pretty hard to even it today if they were to fall behind by any more this early. Takes ball 4 and he walks in a run. So an RBI walk for Holland, and it's 3-0 Whitewater.
And I think that one, more than anything, the result of falling behind in the count. Goes down 3-1, makes a very competitive pitch with that count up on the scoreboard. Tries to come back in a similar spot, just misses a little bit high out of the zone. Very good at bat from this Warhawk offense. The bottom of the order doing its job right now, with Holland reaching right there. Jackson ahead of him.
Is Bennett Frazier, the 9-hole hitter, up for Whitewater, already ahead 1-0. Make it 2-0, gets away, but the runner at third stays where he is. And you talk about the bottom of the order for Whitewater really setting the table. That's what they did so well yesterday. Not a lot of hits, but able to find other ways to reach base. As back-to-back walks from that section of the lineup. Bases still loaded for Whitewater. Pitch misses as Luke Pfeiffer falls further behind. Now in a 2-1 count to Bennett Frazier, his first time up. Strike called.
And a good response right there from Pfeiffer. Not so much intimidating in the last couple at bats, the way that the early half of this inning was. The double to center, a big deal. It's going to rattle a pitcher.
Grounded to Baker. Throws to first to end the inning. All 9 batters hit for Whitewater, 3 outs, 3 runs, and 3 left stranded as we head to the bottom of the first on Tiger Network. Bottom of the first in San Antonio. Maddox McDonald set to lead things off for Trinity. And the starter for Whitewater, it's Hilker Jr. up for his first appearance of the year.
Yeah, not a huge sample size from the 2023 campaign, but the numbers that Hilker does bring in from last season, quite impressive for a freshman. Let's see if he can continue what has been a very good start to this series for this Warhawks staff.
It's a strike 1 to McDonald, who ended his day back-to-back at-bats, caught looking. So I'm sure that's something that Scannell wasn't too happy with. Swings through that one, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of these Trinity hitters yesterday took a lot of strikes. Good to see him swinging the bat. Very near miss right there as he looked like he got a piece of it.
And goes down looking there. Outside edge, called strike 3, and a quick strikeout for Michael Hilker.
But back to what has become expected for this Whitewater pitching staff. Throwing a lot of strikes in the opening 2 games of this series. McDonald frozen on that one as Hilker starts off hammering the bottom part of the zone, using it very effectively.
An early strike to Max Milligan, making the start in left field. Ty Preston still out injured. So kind of a revolving door at that position this weekend for Trinity. Strike two. It's Hilker just punishing the zone right now. Already one down, still nobody on. Swing and a miss, strike three. Back-to-back strikeouts for Michael Hilker Jr. And there's two away quickly for the Tigers.
Yeah, I think 6 pitches so far, 2 strikeouts. Hilker trying to work his way towards that immaculate inning. This is a situation where I am not scared of the announcer's jinx, trying to help out this Trinity offense any way I can. Coming right down the middle of the zone against an offense that didn't pick up the bats all that much yesterday. Can't blame the approach out there on the mound to start things off here.
Well, there goes the immaculate inning to Nick Lazara. Ball two, just misses. Lazara hitting over 400 on the year still. We're in game number 5. Doing the catching today. Misses, ball 3. Inside, he loses on 4 pitches. So after back-to-back strikeouts, a walk handed out, and the Tigers have their first base runner.
Yeah, and kind of odd after back-to-back 3-pitch strikeouts, a 4-pitch walk. I think understandable. Don't want to leave anything out over the middle of the plate to start an at-bat off against Nick Lazara. Threw one in the dirt to start things. A little bit of a breaking ball is what it looked like. And then just couldn't find the zone with that fastball again. Tried to make an adjustment there on the 4th delivery. Just came too far inside on the hands.
As Christian Holloway, the cleanup hitter, takes strike 1. Lazaro waits on first base, 2 down in the inning. Takes ball 1, 1-1.
We'll see now for Hilker, how does having a runner on change the complexion, as it did for Luke Pfeiffer in the top half.
Ground ball to short, and they go to Shortway to end the inning. So the Tigers get the walk with 2 outs, but can't do anything with it. It's still 3-0 Whitewater. Top of the 2nd in San Antonio, as we're here for game 2. Whitewater up 3-0. And Luke, it is great to actually be at the ballpark. We are broadcasting live from the stadium this time.
Yeah, live from the stadium, being on top of the bell sitter here at Trinity University. Right behind home plate. Just a totally different experience than anything I've had before.
Absolutely. We had some issues with the microphones earlier. We apologize for that, but we're going to be able to see things a lot better out here. That's a strike called there. I'm sure Constant viewers may have noticed we may have some trouble seeing things at times when we're in the room. That shouldn't be as much of an issue this time around, actually being there. Popped up sky high. Holloway makes the catch, one down. And Luke, now that we're here, we could actually appreciate how high that ball went.
Yeah, that was an immediate example. They're helping you out here, trying to demonstrate on the broadcast, Cole. Typically, I think we have a tough time knowing if that's going to be Lazera, maybe Nelson over there at first base, ultimately winding up with Christian Holloway. We got it in one try.
Kudway hits that one to left, and the catch made by Milligan. A quick 2 outs with the 1 and 2 hitters for Whitewater. A good rebound for Luke Pfeiffer.
Yeah, absolutely right about that, Cole. Good job from Pfeiffer, taking some easy outs here to open up the second. Exactly what you want after a very extended first. Trying to keep that pitch count down is very important, especially what we've talked about at length already. Yesterday, being more of a bullpen game, they used 5 arms on opening day of this series. Maybe a little depleted in a situation where you're going to play 4 games. Need Pfeiffer to go as long as he can. Keep this one at a steady 3-0 deficit.
That's fouled off by Skolin. Skolin 0 for 1 today. Struck out looking in the first. 1 of 2 outs in the first 3 batters that Pfeiffer faced. Things unraveled from there. But either way, it's proof that Whitewater can work with 2 down. We'll see what they can do in this situation, as Skolin takes that one low. Two-one pitch. Strike called, upper edge.
And Skolin getting back a little bit to what this Warhawk team has done very well the last 2 days. It's forced Trinity pitchers to throw strikes. A little aggressiveness out of the gate to start the second from the 1 and 2 hole hitters for the Warhawks. But now doing a nice job of getting back to the basics and working this count full.
3-2 pitch to Skolin. 355 hitter last season. Fouled off, he stays alive. Luke, that might be something we have to watch out for. We could be in foul ball territory.
Yeah, and we're right on the edge of the building, so I'm going to have to show some restraint, not dive off the edge for any foul balls.
Well, please do not do that, as Skolin takes ball 4 and heads over to first base. Yeah, I'll have to call the game 2 alone, but ideally I'd like to finish this one out with you still here.
Yeah, at least in one piece. I've had some problems in the past with Trinity baseball specifically. Most of the other sports I walk away unharmed, but there's been an incident already in my career, and I would like to avoid a second one.
As we all would, as we all would. It's the cleanup hitter Eli Frank up. He takes strike 1. Skolin waits on first base. Whitewater once again battling with 2 down in an inning. It was Frank that really got the last inning going with a double to center field as he takes ball 1.
Yeah, not a bad miss from Pfeiffer right there. Starting Frank down and away with something off speed, breaking ball that caught the bottom part of the plate. Trying to come in hard on the hands, speed things up.
Runner goes, throw, not in time, and a stolen base for Matt Skolin. It looked like it was going to be close. Tag just a bit late, and there's a runner in scoring position for the Warhawks.
Yeah, Lazera put that one really right on target at Colt Harris at second base. Unfortunately, good speed over there. Probably wanted to put that one closer to the first base side so it can go directly down.
So a stolen base for Matt Skolin. Eli Frank working with a 1-2 count. Grounded to Baker. It's going to be a tough play, and he's not going to have one. Baker decides to eat it with the runner at third. And there's 2 aboard for Whitewater.
Yeah, but a very wise decision from Jack Baker right there. Nice job ranging over to get it in the first place, keep things in the infield. It's Milligan out there and left for the Tigers, and likely with the speed already displayed on the base paths, might be sending a runner from second right there with 2 down in the inning. Avoids falling behind by another run here.
You know, I thought Baker was going to Jeter it for a second. Didn't do it. So he makes the wise play, and it looks like that will be the day for Luke Pfeiffer. So pulled in the second inning, as the Tigers will go to their bullpen when we come back. Welcome back to San Antonio. Runners at the corners for Whitewater, who's already up 3-0 in this game. A new pitcher for the Tigers. It's Jonathan Newman, making his first appearance of the season, as he works with 2 down in the inning. Ball 1. Newman facing one of the best hitters Whitewater has, Sam Patton. 7th in the nation in batting average last season, just a point behind his teammate Adam Kootway. And an RBI opportunity to extend the Warhawk lead. Ball 2.
And early Newman taking a similar approach Pfeiffer did the first time through this lineup, just staying away from Patton. Tried to go with the fastball on the outside part of the plate, came back something soft down in the zone right there. Now a couple of times in a row, he's threatening to walk Patton for a second time this afternoon.
Already behind 3-0. Patton, who hit 2 home runs yesterday. Seems like they're being very careful with him. And they'll choose to deal with thighs on deck. There's strike 1.
Yeah, don't blame the Warhawks right there. No green light for Patton, as good as he has been. Force Newman to throw something over the plate, show that he can throw a strike.
Does not do it there, as the bases are now filled with Warhawks. Patton walks, he's aboard. And now the second baseman, Thies, who has already hit a double in this game.
Yeah, and have to recognize that Thies on that double sent it right down the right field line, way out in front of that baseball.
Strike 1.
Doing a nice job of jumping ahead in the count, because now you can go to some off-speed stuff. Try and keep him out front.
That's low and in. 1-1. Thies doubled his first time up. Double here could blow this one open for the Warhawks. Strike 2.
Yeah, a little bit of a backdoor breaking ball right there from Newman. Thies thought about it just briefly, enough to start his hands, but had him frozen.
1-2 pitch. In the dirt. Lazara able to keep it in front of them. Everybody stays where they are.
And Newman continuing to mix right here. Didn't want to throw that same pitch in consecutive offerings, but a good one to go back to if he can locate again.
Hit in the air, it gets down. One runs across, another one being sent home, no throw. And it's 5-0 Whitewater as their offense continues to keep things going.
And hard to tell exactly what that offering was. Looked like the velocity was dialed back just a little bit, but didn't seem like it had any break on it. Stayed up over the middle of the plate. Thies timed that one perfectly, sending it right back up the middle. Very good piece of hitting. 2 down, 2 strikes in that at bat. Very content to use the entire field right there after that double in his first at bat.
2 RBI single for Thies as he's 2 for 2 today. Darryl Jackson now up for the second time. He walked his first time up. High and inside, ball 1 as this bottom to middle of the order continues to really work for Whitewater.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They just get the job done. That's what they did last night. You mentioned they didn't walk away with a number of hits, but they found a way to put themselves on base, get things turned over to the top half where their 1 through 3 hitters had an absolutely monster performance to open their 2024 season.
Patton waits at second base. Thies at first. 2 down in the inning. Check on him at second, but back in time is Patton. Two-0 pitch to Jackson. Jonathan Newman in this game in relief. Swing and a miss, strike 1.
But a very healthy hack from Jackson right there, recognizing the 2-0 count, anticipating something over the middle of the plate. He got it. He just very narrowly missed.
Strike 2, outside edge. Two down, runner on first and second for Whitewater. They've scored 2 in this inning, 3 in the first. They're up 5-0. Inside.
But a very good pitch from Newman right there. Perhaps showing a little bit of frustration as he gets that baseball back. It works the count full, but spotted that one nicely in on the hands of Jackson.
3-2 pitch. Foul back as the runners were off and running. With it being a full count, they'll have to go back, and we'll do it again. Whitewater a chance to extend their lead in the top of the second with 2 down in the inning. Hit in the air, sky high. Nelson makes the catch, and that ends the inning. Whitewater extends the lead, but Newman gets the Tigers out of the jam. Still 5-0 Warhawks in San Antonio. Bottom of the second here in San Antonio. Whitewater up 5-0 as they tack on 2 more in the last frame. Leading it off for Trinity, the first baseman, Brandon Nelson. There's strike 1 from Hilker.
And another long break for Hilker before he steps back onto the mound, but picks up right where he left off, pumping strikes in there.
Hit hard to left center, back and down. One hops the wall. Nelson charging in for second. It's a lead off, stand up double for the first baseman.
You had to imagine it was going to happen at some point. Trinity bats have been very quiet here across the last 2 days, but Brandon Nelson changing things quickly in the bottom of the second. Sees something left out over the plate, maybe a little bit higher in the zone that time. Was able to drive it the other way with the wind blowing in. Warhawks and Najira playing a little shallower, easily down over the top of him at that time.
That's now hitting for Trinity, the designated hitter, Alex Monson. Last time he started a game, had 2 hits on Sunday against Babson. Now working with nobody out and a runner on second. Takes a ball high. It's already a rough start for Hilker in this inning. We'll see how he settles in. Went through the first pretty quickly. Inside strike called, 2-1.
And changing eye level right there. That one down and in. Holland behind the plate today for the Warhawks, having to reach down and get it, but a nice job framing it, bringing it back to the zone, and get Hilker back in this count.
3-1. That's high and outside. See what Hilker does here. In danger of walking Monson. Fouled back out of play, and a full count.
Monson doing a nice job of fighting that one off. A little in on his hands, late to get that foot down. No harm done. Fills the count up at 3-2. We'll have to see another pitch right here.
Low ball 4, and Monson walks, 2 aboard for the Tigers with nobody out.
Yeah, and a much better at-bat from Monson right there. Really only one great pitch to offer at, and he did so. It was that foul ball 2 pitches ago. Sees another one well outside the zone as Hilker struggled a little bit in that at-bat. Unprecedented based on the start that he had in the first, and realistically, even to Brandon Nelson, he's been dialed in, he's been filling it up, but struggled to do so there against Monson.
Is now Colt Harris up with no down and 2 on. A big question for us when we saw that Michael Hilker was making the start. He had 13 appearances, no starts last season. In those 13 appearances, 8 of them fewer than 2 innings. So seeing how he does with a larger workload in his second inning of work now. And you see the Tigers starting to figure some things out. Harris working with a 2-0 count. Swing and a miss, strike 1.
You mentioned a larger workload. Another aspect of it is, I can't imagine how many times Hilker came into a game and then sat through a half inning and went back out there, right? Only 13 appearances on the year, about 19 innings pitched. Typically, he was out there to get 3 outs, maybe fewer.
It's one of their best arms out of the bullpen last season. A 2.33 ERA. Two-two pitch to Harris. Grounded, could be 2. Throw to second in time, throw to first, and it is. So just as the Tigers have something going, 2 on and nobody out, Harris grounds into the double play. And now 2 down and a runner on first.
Yeah, and just a tough break for Harris right there. Trying to stay alive, doing everything he could. Shortened up, got the barrel out there to put it on baseball. Unfortunately for him, he just poked it straight to short. Already playing in double play depth. That one wrapped up, tailor-made. Very nice job in the infield.
That's Jack Baker up for the first time today, working with 2 down and a runner on third. Ball in the dirt. Nelson stays where he is. The 6-4-3 double play, grounded into by Colt Harris. Changes the complexity of this inning. Looked like the Tigers had a chance to get back into the game in this inning. Now looks like it's going to be a multi-inning effort. Strike 1 to Baker.
And a great job from Hilker right there. First delivery of the at-bat, missing low. Using that breaking ball, just find that release point again. Spots that one down and away.
In the dirt again. Good job by Holland to keep it in front of him twice in a row. Now a 2-1 pitch. Grounded to second. Throw the first in time, and Hilker gets out of the jam. 2 aboard, nobody out. Nothing on the scoreboard for the Tigers. Still 5-0 Whitewater. Top of the third, and San Antonio leading it off for the Warhawks. It's Holland, the catcher. There's Jonathan Newman out there in his second inning. Bluffs the throw. That was kind of an odd sequence.
Yeah, third base coach for the Warhawks still trotting over to his spot to start out here in the top of the third.
There's strike 1.
Always weird to stop a pitcher mid-delivery. The ball actually did come out of Newman's hands, but unfazed by it, it seems like.
Ball low, 1-1.
You point out Holland starting off this half inning for the Warhawks. Important out here for Newman, as this is the part of the order that's done so well at finding ways on, turning things over, so that Najira, Kutwe, Skolin can keep up the bats at the top of the order and stay hot.
Holland, the 8-hitter. First time up, he walked. Ball 2.
Yeah, but a good spot right there from Newman. Getting ahead in this one, a competitive miss. Fastball just down and away off the plate.
Foul tip. And not in the glove of Lazara, so Holland able to stay alive.
But Newman operating very well, staying down in the zone across those last 2 offerings.
Outside 3-2, and Holland able to work this to a full count. Just an example of the gritty competitive nature seen at the bottom of this Warhawks lineup. There's strike 3. Newman gets him looking, and there's one down in the inning.
And it looked like at least two of the pitches in that sequence down and away were of the breaking ball variety. And they had just a little bit too much movement breaking off the plate. Comes back, spots a fastball, has no movement, doesn't tail off, is able to catch Holland looking. And great at bat right there, goes the way of Jonathan Newman.
Now Bennett Frazier up, the 9-hole hitter, as he takes strike one. Grounded to short the last time he was up. And does so again. Baker in time, 2 down.
And a nice job from Baker out there at short. Very smooth, getting behind the baseball, working through it, making a nice strong delivery over to Nelson at first base. Mission accomplished for Jonathan Newman. Doing a nice job retiring 8-9 hitters, which has been a difficult task for Trinity pitchers this weekend. Now, nobody on base, 2 down, has an opportunity for a clean inning, something we haven't seen very frequently for the Tigers.
Alex Najira, the center fielder, 0 for 2 today. He's flown out twice, or I should say he's flown out and grounded out. So he takes a strike on the outside edge. It's 1-2. Outside.
Newman really capitalizing early in at bats, jumping ahead. That one, another competitive miss, down and away.
Grounded to Baker on the hop. Throw in time. And that ends the inning. Whitewater goes 1-2-3 for the first time today. Still up 5-0 in the Alamo City. Bottom of the third on Tiger Network. Jack Peterson leads things off against Michael Hilker Jr. in his third inning of work. Peterson's first time up today. And squares up to bunt, pulls it back for ball 1. And we've seen him do that quite frequently, Luke.
Yeah, talked about him extensively yesterday. Big center fielder, 6'3", 6'4", has a lot of pop in that bat, but a long stride. He gets down the line very well.
Pitch sharp down the line and a fair ball. Peterson sprinting round first and cruises into second. Looks like that's a ground rule double as the right fielder put his hands up. So a leadoff double for the second time in a row for Trinity.
And I wanted to say it coming into this inning as Hilker was starting that at bat. Last half, 2 Trinity Tigers that were able to reach. You had Nelson and Monson do so, standing in there on the right side of the plate. 2 lefties in the lineup were able to get on. Peterson that time continuing the trend.
It's top of the order now up for the Tigers. Maddox McDonald struck out looking the first time he was up. Now working with a runner on second base, nobody out. takes a pitch outside. 2-0.
And it's been a very patient approach from McDonald all weekend long. This time paying off, has him well ahead in this at bat 2-0. See if he has a green light on something over the middle of the plate.
Outside 3-0. That pitch barely missing from Hilker. McDonald in a hitter's count. Whitewater up 5-0. Strike one outside edge.
And that's been the spot for Hilker today, down and away. Home plate umpire has been happy to give it to him, and he takes advantage of it right there.
Strike called at the knees, and McDonald can't believe it. He was on his way to first base, has to go back to the batter's box with a 3-2 count.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. Thought that strike one call on that at bat was right on the edge. Even from our vantage point, that one looked even more outside.
And that's ball 4 anyways.
Yeah, that one very nearly in the dirt. Wasn't a whole lot lower outside the zone than the previous offering, but would have certainly caused an uproar from the Trinity faithful in attendance on what is a very beautiful day here in San Antonio. A nice turnaround after Thursday night. Game 1 was a pretty chilly affair.
It's Max Milligan set to lead things off. Yeah, I was talking to some of the Whitewater players before this one as Milligan fouls that back. I said, you really brought the cold weather with you, didn't you? And even they were happy that it passed through. Very nice day out today. Temperature in the low 70s. A good day for us to be outside for the first time. A good day for the Trinity crowd. 0-1 pitch to Milligan. Breaking ball bends in for strike 2.
And a nice pitch from Hilker right there. Starts that one on the outside part of the plate and breaks over the middle. Milligan got his foot down. Just don't know if he recognized breaking ball right there.
Grounded fair. Frank will handle it, step on the bag for out number 1, but the runners advance and there's 2 in scoring position with 1 down.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Milligan in that at bat, missed on the best pitch that he got. It was that fastball at 0-0. Got that breaking ball to move him even further behind, but doing a nice job right there. Down 0-2, doesn't give up, and does a job of moving the runners over. Gives Trinity a nice opportunity, less than 2 outs, runners on second and third, to scratch a run.
An opportunity for Nick Lazera. Lines it to right, caught. Peterson will tag anyways, throw home, not in time. A sac fly RBI for Nick Lazera, and it's 5-1 as the Tigers get on the board.
And the lefties in this Trinity lineup continuing to do some damage. Lazera, unfortunately, sent that one straight at Kootway. Didn't get any lateral movement out of the Warhawk right fielder. Was able to charge through that one. Made a very, very strong throw home. Just not handled by Holland as he was trying to get a tag down on the speedy Peterson coming from third.
Now Christian Holloway comes up to bat. 2 down, and Maddox McDonald waiting at second base. Ball 1 high. The Tigers have found a way to get to Michael Hilker a little bit. Holloway swings over that one. 1-1. First inning for Hilker was one of the quicker ones you're going to see. 1 batter reaches, 2 strikeouts, no runs scored. Able to get to him in the last inning. Still no runs on the board. Trinity able to score by Nick Lazera. Hit to left field. It gets down as it finds the gap. McDonald rounds third. He's coming home. And an RBI double for Christian Holloway makes it 5-2.
And a great job from Holloway right there. Talked about the lefties. Able to find or figure out Hilker a little better in the last 2 half innings. Finally, a righty able to get going. That one just remaining over the heart of the plate. Hilker has succeeded against the righties in this Trinity order. So he's used that breaking ball and he's used that fastball, spotted both of them down and away. that time catching too much of the plate against a very good hitter in Christian Holloway.
We're going to have a meeting as Coach John Vodidlich coming out to talk to his pitcher. And it looks like a meeting is all it is. We've talked about the impact that left-handed hitters have had in this game. We didn't see a lot of them in the lineup last night. Whitewater throwing a lefty, Cade Barrett, who had a very good start. But that meant that a lot of the lefties were left on the bench. Most of them get to play today, and they're making an impact.
Yeah, Peterson, really the only true left-handed hitter that Coach Scannell leaves in the lineup for Trinity. You know, I wasn't around a ton in the 2023 campaign, but I remember 2 seasons ago, this was an offense that was really predicated upon what opposing staffs were going to do, right? If they brought a righty out there, the lefties were in on that given day, and vice versa if it was a lefty on the mound. Today, offense showing a similar strategy. Right now, another lefty steps into the batter's box, see if they can do some more damage against Hilker in the early going.
Brandon Nelson, who doubled his last time up, takes strike 1. Nelson was left stranded in the last inning, where the Tigers had 2 aboard with nobody out. Now trying to bring Christian Holloway, who waits at second, home. Takes a ball there.
And really, if you're Nelson right here, you have to identify that breaking ball if it hangs up. Something that he's certainly willing to clobber.
Inside, 2-1. As Nelson continues to battle. We've seen the power from Brandon Nelson already this year. Bottom of the first inning, opening day against Babson, a 3-run homer to get the season started right for Trinity. Trying to keep this inning going. Hit in the air to left, backing up, and making the catch is Skolin to end the inning. But the Tigers get 2 on the board. Now a 3-run game as it's 5-2 Whitewater. Back for the top of the 4th on Tiger Network. Jonathan Newman continues to work for Trinity. He's had a pretty good outing so far, as he faces this potent Whitewater lineup. Luke, when Whitewater was up, I believe it was 3-0 at the time last night, the Tigers were able to get a run, as that's hit into left field, drifting back to the wall. He'll dig in for second base and stay there with a lead-off double.
Yeah, Kootway not missing a beat right there. Jumping all over, fastball down the middle. Nice understanding. Last half inning, Newman doing a spectacular job getting ahead in counts. Kootway, for that reason, anticipated something over the middle of the plate. He got it, and he drove it right into the gap in left center.
As Newman bluffs off the bag, Kootway forced to dive to second base. We haven't seen too much power in this series from Kootway. 2 singles, 2 up by pitches, and a walk his last outing. First extra base hit of the season. Check swing, they say he went around. But Kootway, a slugging percentage of .933 last year. Gets his first extra base hit of the year.
And the weather just changing here in San Antonio. Flags flipping, now blowing out to straightaway center. Felt like a couple of balls hit in the last half inning hung up there. Lazera sending one to right. Nelson at the end of the inning sending one to left. They ultimately got all the way out to their recipients playing defensively for the Warhawks. That one just a little bit of a friendlier trajectory offensively for Kootway.
Foul down the third base line, out of play. Still nobody out. Kootway, a leadoff double. He waits on second base. It's Matt Skolin up, working with a 1-2 count. Skolin walked the last time he was up. Outside 2-2.
Yeah, looked like a changeup perhaps from Jonathan Newman right there, trying to stay on the outside part of the plate.
Strike called. And that's strike 3. So Newman gets him looking the second time Skolin struck out, and there's one down in the inning.
Yeah, a little confusion on that one. Home plate umpire for getting the count right there. Didn't fully ring him up. I think he pointed to his chest, understood that one was on him right there. Continuing to shake his head a little bit.
Yeah, that one definitely got me as Eli Frank, the cleanup hitter, steps up to the bag. Yeah, there's normally some theater in a strike 3 call. There was no dramatic there.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of a flare. I think he's been a little delayed on most of his calls, even out of the gate. Saw some strong pitches early on, and I was wondering if he was going to ring him up, and eventually it did come.
As Newman bluffs off the backside. I just always think back to Aaron Boone's impersonation last year with the Yankees when he got thrown out. Wasn't appreciating some of the calls and made that known through his impersonation. Strike called on the outside edge. It's Frank 2 for 2 today. Has doubled and singled. Working with Kootway on second base, one down in the inning in a 5-2 game for Whitewater. Outside, 2-1.
And Frank already demonstrating some massive power here this afternoon. The flags now flying out to center field where he sent that previous baseball. Newman not trying to mess around and leave anything over the plate, especially with first base unoccupied.
Grounded foul, nearly got his head coach with that one, who's standing over by third base. Now in a 2-2 count. Frank, 20 at-bats last season, 2 homers, 1 of every 10 at-bats. He's got the wind blowing the dead center. Grounded and picked by Nelson. He'll take it to the bag himself for out number 2. Good play by Brandon Nelson at first base as Kootway is able to take third.
Yeah, that one taking a long skip, staying down on the ground. Nelson doing a nice job of corralling it. Hard hit baseball. He's playing almost towards that outfield turf, not on the edge of the grass here in San Antonio. Beautiful field, beautiful day. Got a renovation, got a makeover a couple seasons ago. But a nice job keeping that one in front of himself. The other side for the Warhawks, Frank's at least doing a job there, moving a runner over. Now have a guy just 90 feet away. Important for Lazera behind home plate. Keep everything in front and keep this inning clean after Trinity was able to scratch a couple in the bottom of the third.
Very important for Jonathan Newman to do good work with 2 down in the inning. That's where Whitewater's done a lot of their damage today. As Sam Patton comes up. His 2 at-bats today. He's walked both times as they're staying away from him. Understandably so. Hit 2 home runs to left field last night in a 14-3 win. Ball 1.
And unfortunately for Newman, that part of the plate hasn't been called a strike consistently today. It's been that area down and away to these right-handed hitters.
Now 2-0.
And he goes there, just starts it at the bottom of the zone, if not underneath it. And that one winding up in the dirt. Now behind 2-0. Not sure that you mess around in this at-bat.
And not planning to. So now Patton works a 3-0 count. As he seems destined for another trip to first base without swinging the bat. There's ball 4.
And I like the initial offering from Newman, trying to locate a breaking ball in on the hands, trying as much and as hard as he could to just catch the inside part of the plate. Unfortunately for him, didn't get the call to go his way. And then from there, didn't want to pitch from behind to one of the most dangerous hitters in this Warhawk lineup.
That'll be the day for Jonathan Newman. He's really stopped the bleeding. Still 5-2 with 2 down and runners at the corners. Welcome back to sunny San Antonio as the first-year Brandon Morio takes the mound for the Tigers. The lefty making his 2nd appearance. Grounded to Harris, and that ends the inning. All it takes is 1 pitch for Brandon Morio to get out of the jam. Still 5-2 Whitewater leads in Trinity. Welcome back to South Texas on Tiger Network. As Alex Monson set to lead things off, the designated hitter. Monson walked his first time up. It's that pitch for ball 1. Hit in the air to left field, and it gets down, rolling through the gap back to the wall. Monson charges for second base, and he'll stop there with another leadoff double. The third consecutive inning the Tigers have got one.
And a great piece of hitting from Monson right there. Remember that last at bat didn't get a ton of great offerings. Only picked the bat up once, swung, and was able to fight something off before he reached via walk. That time, saw the first pitch down low in the zone, turned on that second one to send it the opposite direction.
As Colt Harris steps into the batter's box. Takes ball 1 high.
Honestly, that last batted ball, though, kind of an awkward angle taken out there in left field. Skolin playing there defensively for the Warhawks.
Strike 1.
Sun kind of directly in his eyes. That one hanging up in no man's land, well over the head of Jackson out there at short.
Grounded to short, and they get the lead runner. Monson still down off the bag. Harris safe at first. As Alex Monson trying to get up, looks like he's in some pain. A collision at third base. As he walks back to the dugout, looks to be fine now. Good job by Whitewater to get the lead runner.
Yeah, just a heads-up play from Jackson right there. Just a chopper hit to the third base side. Did everything he could, just flipping that one over there. Frazier applying the tag nicely. Mentioned a little bit of a collision, heavy contact there. Nice to see Monson get up and walk off under his own power.
Now the 8-hitter, Jack Baker, playing shortstop today. Works with 1 down and a runner on first base. Takes the ball high. 2-0.
And very near miss right there. It's a dangerous hitter in Baker, who moved down in the order today, but certainly more than capable. It was a very close check over there at first base. Originally looked like Colt Harris caught leaning the other direction, but throw that's up top hits Frank in the upper half. I think that's below his belt. He gets it down a little quicker, and Harris probably called out.
Ball low, 3-0. We saw a pickoff attempt successfully executed on the Trinity side last night. Nearly one there for Whitewaters. You were right. Harris caught leaning the other way, as you said. Strike called.
And Baker, as dangerous as he is, staying conservative in a 3-0 count in this at bat.
Runner on first, 1 down in the inning. Baker to right, caught, and a good play by Kootway to record the second out.
Yeah, frankly, both of these corner outfielders for the Warhawks playing the lines a little bit heavier than I would anticipate in left. Skolin playing more of a stereotypical straight up positioning, but Kootway definitely hugging it that time. Unfortunate break for Trinity as that one barreled up nicely by Baker, sitting at the other direction.
As Vodenlynch will come on for Whitewater to talk to his pitcher. And we'll see if this is a chat or a change. And it will be a change. That'll be the day for Michael Hilker Jr. Gets into the 5th inning in a 5-2 game. Pitching change on Tiger Network. Welcome back on Tiger Network. Bottom of the fourth inning here in San Antonio, as Ethan Wickman makes his first appearance for Whitewater. The first year from Spring Valley, Wisconsin. The lefty comes in to face Jack Peterson and throws ball one.
Yeah, and it was a lefty-lefty matchup that Trinity tried to take advantage of to end the last half. The Warhawks doing the same right here.
Peterson, the 9-hole hitter, swings through that, strike one. Hit a double the last time he was up. Down the right field line, barely fair. Now works with 2 outs and a runner on first. Way outside, ball 2.
And now Peterson getting ahead in this at bat, threatening as he tries to turn this lineup back over. Advantage Trinity is the 1-hole, is a righty.
Two-one pitch. Check swing, strike 2.
And Peterson just a little bit late to start his hands that time. Couldn't fully commit to going around, knew he was late on it. Nice job from Wickman in this at bat. That first strike, nice breaking ball that had Peterson even further out in front of it than he was in that last at bat when he doubled down the right field line.
Hit in the air to shallow center, and it finds the turf. Throw to third, not in time. Peterson takes second with nobody covering, and 2 runners in scoring position for Trinity. Peterson's 2 for 2.
Yeah, and looked like he just got jammed on the inside right there. Doing a nice job, doing everything that he could to fight that ball off. And with the wind blowing out, maybe got aided just a little bit as that carried into the outfield. And neither Jackson or Theis, playing in the middle of the infield, could track it down.
You know, they talk about the Bermuda Triangle. That was more of the Bermuda Square. That was 4 purple jerseys converging on that baseball. None of them can come up with it. And a chance for the top of the order, Maddox McDonald. Take strike 1. McDonald 0 for 1. Walked the last time he was up, struck out looking the time before that. A 2-out RBI opportunity. Harris on third, Peterson on second. Fouled off.
Yeah, and doing a nice job in this at bat, at least recognizing that he needs to pick it up and swing it a little bit. He's been caught looking a couple of times this weekend, understanding the strike zone a little bit better now. Saw that first one called down and away, similar spot on that second delivery, and he was at least able to fight it off.
0-2 pitch. Fouled off. McDonald stays alive.
And Wickman missing on that one. Left that over the plate. McDonald more than prepared for it, way out in front, and almost takes out his third base coach.
Got a little excited on that swing. Another 0-2 pitch coming. Outside.
Yeah, but an 0-2 count. Wickman not trying to make another mistake, doing a nice job of going back to a spot that he's benefited from some calls already in his very early appearance, which leaves that one a little bit too far off the edge of the plate.
Now a 1-2 count to McDonald. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Ethan Wickman gets his first strikeout of his Whitewater career and gets the Warhawks out of the inning. They lead 5-2 in San Antonio.
for Harris. Opportunity there for Trinity to turn 2, certainly. But a nice job of at least getting one, staying gathered enough to locate the baseball and get it over to Nelson in time.
Now Bennett Frazier, the 9-hole hitter, takes strike 1. Quick apology, I was 1 batter behind apparently. So Jackson is at second, and that was Holland grounding out. Jackson goes, but fouled off, and he'll have to go back to second.
And a lucky break for Trinity right there, as Jackson not being held on very closely at second. Baker and Harris out there defensively in the middle infield, not flashing before that offering. He was off to a very, very good jump, and imagine he would have been in there safely at third.
Runner still at second. Hit into right field. Jackson goes to third. He'll stay there. And a 1-out single for Bennett Frazier puts runners at the corners.
And that one, however, looked off the bat like it was getting down all the way. A tough read for Jackson at second, who hugged the bag a little bit tightly. Because of that, was only able to advance over there to third base. So no damage done for Trinity. Morio operating now with runners on the corner, but a double play ball still intact. Going to be tough with a lefty standing in the batter's box. A couple of extra feet that he gets helped out getting down the line.
Alex Najira in for his 4th at-bat of the day, 0 for 3 today. The leadoff man an opportunity to extend the Warhawk lead. Tigers had held scoreless the last inning. The lead still 5-2. That pitch in for strike.
Morio, in this instance, with the lefty-lefty advantage, pretty big spot and pretty big ask for the true freshman. But a strikeout in this scenario, very, very big time for Trinity. And he does a nice job, at least to get ahead 1-2, and get it put away, get 2 outs on the board. And you start to worry a lot less about that runner at third.
Grounded up the middle. Softly rolled, and it gets past Harris. Run scores for Whitewater, and everybody's safe. It's 6-2 Warhawks.
And you mentioned Bermuda Square last half inning, Cole. Kind of a similar play. Not a pop-up, but similar trajectories. That one grounded hard out ahead of home plate. And jumps over Morio as he jumps on the pitcher's mound. Colt Harris crashing as hard as he could, just couldn't get there. Took a little bit of a bounce underneath his glove. Very, very difficult play, converging in the middle of the infield. Unfortunate that the Tigers are unable to come away with any outs.
As it looks like a pinch hitter here for Whitewater. Runners at first and second. He squares up to bunt. Throw back to second. Gets into center field. Both of the runners advancing, and there's 2 in scoring position for Whitewater.
And it's been relatively aggressive base running for the Warhawks all weekend long. Maybe a larger secondary than we typically see right there. But even then, Lazara choosing to throw behind the runner all the way through to second. Maybe a questionable decision, as now the infield is going to come in, forced to play in a position where they're going to try and cut down this run from third.
Whitewater already extending the lead to 6-2. 2 runners in scoring position. Only 1 down in the inning still. Ball inside. The pinch hitter is Dominic McVeigh, who got into the game last night. Pinch hitting, I believe, for Adam Kootway. Strike called. It is possible that they moved Kootway down in the order and substituted him with somebody else, but as of now, that is Kootway's spot in the lineup, the number 2 hitter. Foul tip, strike 3. 2 down in the inning as McVeigh goes down on strikes.
There's that strikeout that we were asking for. Comes a batter late perhaps, but maybe an even larger spot as the runners advance over to second and third. It took away the force out briefly, but now with 2 outs, doesn't matter. Pressure still applied on Morio right here.
Still a dangerous hitter, and Matt Skolin takes ball 1 high. One of many dangerous hitters Whitewater has, as we've highlighted in these last 2 games. Trying to keep this a 4-run deficit. Strike 1 low.
And some real groans from that Warhawk dugout. Have an aerial vantage point, but felt like Lazara might have had the glove on the ground just a little bit as he was catching that one.
There have been some calls both ways today. Inside, ball. So I guess they're even.
Yeah, that one arguably a better pitch, not going the way of Morio. It evens out certainly, but now falling behind 2-1 in this at bat.
Hit on the ground. Baker not going to have a play, and it's 7-2 Whitewater. RBI single for Matt Skolin, and runners at the corners with 2 down.
Yeah, really tough break because ultimately there truly is nothing you can do there. And Baker just waiting for that one to come back down, and it hung up there for quite a while. Absolutely no chance with Skolin getting down the line to first base very well.
And pitching coach Dave Smith out to talk to the first-year pitcher. It was really unfortunate for Trinity, that last at-bat. Kind of a Baltimore chop situation. Really nothing Baker could do about that. A quick meeting as Smith already headed back to the Tiger dugout. Lazara still out there.
It's been a couple of hits like those this inning. 2 of them just chopped right back up the middle, hanging in the air, put in a position defensively where the Tigers have been unable to make plays. Nice turnaround from early in this game and yesterday's affair where the Warhawks had a lot of hard hit baseballs, still finding ways to scratch runs at the moment.
Grounder finds the hole, and another run scores for Whitewater. It's 8-2. Frank hits it past the dive of Baker. Another RBI single as Whitewater continuing to pour it on.
And just as soon as I say that the staff has done a nice job moving to a position where they've avoided hard hit baseballs, Frank steps back into the batter's box, gets a lot of barrel on that baseball, and drives it past the outstretched Baker there at short, who continues to do everything he can defensively.
Now Sam Patton up, takes ball 1. 3 at-bats, 3 walks. I just learned yesterday, coincidentally, that our colleague Reed Rosales calls that a pedestrian. So he takes ball 2. Apparently, he said, if 3 strikeouts is a hat trick, 3 walks is a pedestrian. So I guess we'll stick with that term. Takes ball 3. And now a 4th walk potentially in play. He told me that's called a jaywalker.
It just gets better with Reed Rosales every time.
Always does. Strike 1, so not quite a jaywalker yet. If you were curious, 5 is a crossing guard. We're still working on 6. I asked him about that as well.
I think my all-time favorite Reed Rosales call, calling a Centenary women's basketball game.
As there's ball 4, earning jaywalker status and loading the bases.
The Centenary ladies had a player on their roster, last name Bourgeois. And of course, Maggie Robbins, the steel artist that she is, was able to take the ball away. And Reed Rosales, live on air, immediately came away with Maggie Robbins has seized the means of production. which is one of the greatest calls that I have ever been a part of. I did take a moment on air to shout that one out.
As that one hits thighs, run scores off of the hit by pitch, and it's 9-2. That call also came up. He was running through his best hits. As Dave Smith coming out once again, and it looks like this one's going to be a change instead of a chat. That'll be the day for Brandon Morio. Bases still loaded in San Antonio. 9-2 Warhawks lead the Tigers. New pitcher for the Tigers with 2 out in the 5th inning. It's Shepard Tyler making his 2nd consecutive appearance through an inning last night in the 14-3 loss. Now working with the bases loaded and 2 down. Grounded sharply but foul.
And Tyler probably not going to overwhelm a ton of hitters first year on campus. He's going to grow across the next 3 years, but also dropping down that sidearm delivery. Not as much velocity on his fastball. Jackson late on that first offering, but I think just trying to identify things a little bit tardy, getting that foot down. Still recognized something that he liked, but just couldn't quite get the barrel on baseball.
Jackson a base hit the last time he was up. That gets away. Back off the backstop, but the run scores anyways. Now 10-2 Whitewater off the wild pitch.
Yeah, again, had similar play last night where there was a hard ricochet off that brick backstop here in San Antonio. This one a little off-centered, would have been a very close play, but Lazera, as he went to retrieve it, started to turn back before it was fully in his glove, just fumbled it, and ultimately the run scores easily.
Grounded up the middle softly, and Baker's not going to have a play. Another run scores. It's 11-2.
And it was Jackson out there sending that one to Baker. Called his number multiple times this weekend, especially on the base paths. Doing a nice job motoring along right there. Another chopper that's just going to extend this inning. Significantly too much speed to get thrown out.
Now the 8-hitter, Holland up. Doing the catching today, working with runners at the corners and 2 down. Runner goes, but fouled off, so he'll have to go back. A 6-run inning for Whitewater, and they're still not done. Talk about just the momentum being sucked out of the building. The Tigers starting to figure things out offensively. They made it a 3-run game, and this game has been opened up in a big way for the Warhawks. Outside, 1-1.
Yeah, still just the 5th inning here, so a lot of time to get those bats back into the batter's box, scratch some more runs, but across the last 2 days, already 20+ given up by this Trinity staff.
Hit in the air to right, McDonald under it, and the inning ends, but not before Whitewater adds 6 runs to their tally. It's 11-2 in San Antonio. Bottom of the 5th on Tiger Network, an 11-2 Warhawks lead, and a pinch hitter for the Tigers replacing Max Milligan. It's Pierce Matthews, who made the start yesterday. And strike 1 called.
And Matthews standing in there now. Another change waiting in the on-deck circle as well for Trinity. We'll get to that in a moment. Between half innings, this team in their white pinstripe uniforms went back into the dugout. Certainly heard some cries of take some pride in it. It's been a rough couple of days here in San Antonio. They're hoping for a turnaround rather quickly.
And you think about how the season started, a sweep against Babson, who they had never swept before, and all their meetings against that team. That comeback win in the 8th inning, coming back from 14-5 deficit. That pitch is inside. Make it a 3-1 count.
Realistically, whether or not they win this baseball game, I feel like the effort in a lot of regards hasn't been the standard that's been set in this program.
Grounded. 1 down as he applies the tag instead of stepping on the base. Either way, it gets the job done, and Matthews is retired.
Yeah, long throw across the diamond from Frazier right there. Playing behind the bag on that one. Looked like it was a little bit on the hands of Matthews. Didn't take the cleanest, quickest route there. Frazier had to hurry and got it over there. Got helped out by Frank. Got a big frame and did a nice job of completing the play and just putting that tag on the runner.
So another pinch hitter. Pinch hitting for Nick Lazera. It's Diego Gomez, who got his first hit last Sunday against Babson. It was a double. Ball high on the first year. 2 first years facing each other. His first year pitcher Ethan Wickman for Whitewater, and the first year In the batter's box for Trinity, Diego Gomez. Takes ball 3.
I think mostly the changes that you want to see come at the plate. A lot of at-bats where bats have remained on shoulders. It's been a little better here today. And strikeouts looking certainly something this coaching staff are not huge fans of.
That gets away in a 4-pitch walk as Gomez is aboard with 1 out.
Yeah, not forced to swing it that time. Doing a nice job of keeping it up there, recognizing those pitches outside of the zone, not trying to do too much, and just getting a base runner for Trinity in the bottom of the 5th.
Now Christian Holloway up for the 3rd time today. Doubled the last time he was up, 1 for 2 today. Working with a runner on first and Gomez with 1 down in the inning. Fouls that off, it's 0-1.
A healthy hack from Holloway right there. Wickman a little off speed perhaps, certainly not the velocity that Holloway was anticipating.
Ground to the 3rd, could be 2. Throw to first in time, and that ends the inning. 5-4-3 on the double play, still 11-2 Whitewater. Welcome back, top of the 6th in San Antonio. A new pitcher for the Tigers. It's Alex Bin making his first appearance in 2 years. In 2022, Bin made 9 appearances, 1 start, a 1-1 record. Didn't pitch at all last season, now back on the mound for the Tigers as he fires strike 1. Also important to note, several defensive changes for the Tigers. That's low for ball 1. Nelson stays at first. Cal Coney replaces Colt Harris at second base. Cam Champness in at short. And Pierce Matthews takes over at left. And probably most notably, Matthias Riding, the first year, is the new catcher for the Tigers. Inside 3-1.
Yeah, making switches at both of those middle infield positions. He faces at short and second after what was an eternity in the top of the 5th inning. Not a ton that the players out there and Jack Baker, Colt Harris could have done to make things different. Ultimately wind up with a different outcome. Just so many weakly hit balls that were just buried in the dirt right out in front of home base, hung up there A lot of good speed from these Warhawks on the base paths made them pay.
As the leadoff man, Alex Najira, up for the 5th time today. That was Bennett Frazier reaching on a walk. He's the runner at first. Runner goes, caught in a pickle, tag applied, and they get the out.
But really, nonetheless, an opportunity here to get some fresh faces in the game, and down 11-2. Still very early in the year, and something that we talked about yesterday. While it was focused with this pitching staff.
Bunt down the third base line, throw not in time, and Najira reaches for the first time today with a bunt single.
Get back to that moment get back to that point I was making in just a moment. There's another point that we talked about yesterday a couple times where we saw some bunts get put down that just barely squeaked foul. That one, perfect. Squaring late, putting it right down that third baseline, hugging the line. Holloway had to field it fairly. By the time that he was able to get the ball onto first, it was much too late. Trinity able to make some defensive switches, able to get some new faces into this order to swing the bats here late in this game. Yesterday we talked about it in the context of the pitching staff.
Grounded off the glove. Champness picks it up, but it's not going to be in time as McVeigh reaches for the first time today.
There is always jostling in both the bullpen and the lineup offensively and defensive positions in the field for this Trinity program. I mean, I think more than the bullpen, frankly, the offensive lineup, this batting order changes consistently throughout the course of a year. We talked about it today, whether it's a righty or a lefty, that'll influence things heavily. Coach Scannell has 15 plus guys in that dugout that he knows can swing it, and he wants to use as many as he possibly can.
Runners on first and second for Whitewater. That pitch away for a ball.
We can also again talk about it in regards to this pitching staff. I mentioned 5 guys throwing yesterday, on now to, I believe, our 4th arm of the afternoon already.
Ripped to Nelson. Throw to second in time, and they get a lead runner. Skolin safe at first, and there's 2 down in the inning.
Very impressive play from Nelson over there at first, and very headsy to go ahead and get the lead runner, at least the runner at second, and keeps a force out there for the middle infielders here. Now with Frank stepping back into the batter's box. But a lot of arms used, and you understand it, especially even more so in the context of what this program lost. You have 4 arms that departed after the end of the 2023 season that contributed 47% of innings pitched. There's going to be a lot of holes to fill. I know Coach Smith and this entire coaching staff are going to do their due diligence to get guys out there on the mound early in the year just to evaluate what they have.
Alex Bin, one of those pitchers trying to fill innings, as that's ripped into the gap in left field. That'll score at least 1 run. Another coming around, rounds third base, throw not in time, and Whitewater extends the lead. It's 13-2, a 2 RBI double for Eli Frank.
Yeah, and Frank has absolutely mashed a couple of baseballs here in San Antonio on day 2 of this series. Talked about it earlier. Was held quiet for the most part last night, but had to imagine guy with very big frame standing in there, right-hander's batter's box, has taken some hacks today and driven them to very deep center field, that time deep into the gap out in left center.
So Frank waits at second base, now faces Sam Patton as he takes strike 1. Patton's walked all 4 times he's up. Remember back to the last time he was up, we went through the names that our colleague Reed Rosales came up for how many times somebody walks. 5 is a crossing guard. He's on 4. He has that opportunity to move up from jaywalker to crossing guard.
I really like the logic that Reed Rosales is working with. What was 3 walks again?
Pedestrian.
Pedestrian. And then you elevate it just a little bit. It's a little more serious as a jaywalker.
Hit in the air to left field. And Matthews can't make the catch. Frank's going to come around to score. Patton safe at second. And Whitewater extends the lead. It's now 14-2.
And Matthews drifting back. That one just kept carrying and carrying, and ultimately glances off his glove right as he was arriving at the wall. Maybe recognizing the change in turf underneath his feet, understanding that there was going to be some contact out there with the wall. Tough that he couldn't hold on to that baseball with a chance to get out of the inning.
So another runner at second, another run across the board as that's fouled off by Thies. I feel it's important to note Matthews not usually a left fielder, a utility player that can play left, primarily a catcher. But going back to your point about the Trinity pitching, talk about the losses of Jack Martinez and Harrison Durow in particular, and all the innings they soaked up. Talked to Coach Smith about what that means for the bullpen. He said particularly with the amount of midweek games that they play, they're going to learn a lot about this pen. And it's going to stretch them early, but hopefully they find some guys that can develop and become key arms for them late. The check swing foul.
And you throw those names out there, Durow and Martinez, maybe recognizable for any Whitewater fans that are watching from home. They were both on this roster 2 years ago. But if you haven't followed Trinity baseball very closely, then you wouldn't know that one of those guys in Durow was signed by the Milwaukee Brewers, and the other one, and Martinez, transferred to D1 Louisiana Lafayette, where he is now a night 1 Friday starter. He's a D1 Baseball America top 100 starting pitcher. He's on draft boards all over the country. So they're both guys that are going to be playing professional baseball moving forward. Very large departures for this Trinity program.
Grounded to Champness. He collects and ends the inning. A 3-spot put up by Whitewater. It's 14-2 Warhawks in the Alamo City. Bottom of the 6th and a 14-2 ball game in San Antonio. Brandon Nelson set to lead things off. Ethan Wickman keeps working for Whitewater as another first-year pitcher for the Warhawks has stepped up and done very well. So we saw Jack Hagan a lot last night. Grounded sharply. Wickman covers, and there's one down. Looks like he tripped over first base, able to tap it and get the first out of the inning.
Yeah, difficult cover right there for a left-handed pitcher. falling off the mound more often than not towards that third base foul line. Has to reroute and get all the way over. Does a nice job. Benefits a little bit by only having to beat out Nelson right there.
Strike one to another pinch hitter. It's Brett Jones now into the game, replacing Alex Monson. Jones has made a pinch hit appearance already this season. Also pinch ran in a game last weekend. From Boulder, Colorado. Check swing. Jones, a big Avalanche fan. He's thrilled that they're having a good year. Stanley Cup champions from 2 years ago. Fouls it off. 2-2.
Not a huge hockey guy myself, Cole. Being from San Antonio originally, we used to have the Rampage. I lost that ability. Have recently become a little bit of a fan. I'm dabbling, dipping my toes in the water, and checking the temperature. Dallas, the Stars, being the closest team here in San Antonio, now I have a sworn enemy on this Trinity baseball team.
That's grounded to third base, 2 down in the inning. Stars are a good pick. They're having a good year as well. Division rivals of Colorado, so you might have to take that up with Brett Jones.
Exactly.
I personally am a fan of the defending Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights.
Also an enemy there, but I'll try and forgive. Forgive and forget. It's the motto for the time being on Tiger Network. As again, it is very early in the year. Going to keep my partner happy on the broadcast and try and not pit you against myself.
As we'll have a meeting at the mound, and this will be a change. Wickman's day is done. It was a good debut for him as Whitewater makes a pitching change on Tiger Network. So a new pitcher for Whitewater. It's Cade Hansen, the sophomore and Texas native from right around this area in New Braunfels. As he fires in strike one to another pinch hitter for the Tigers. Was subbed in defensively last inning, Cal Coney. He's made quite a few appearances so far this season. Grounded on a hop to Frank, and that ends the inning. A quick one for Cade Hansen as it's still 14-2 Warhawks. Top of the 7th inning in San Antonio, still 14-2 Wisconsin-Whitewater. Alex Bin for another inning of work as he faces Darrell Jackson. Waves at that one for strike one.
And Ben got hit in that last half inning. Frank barreling one, sending it into the left center field gap. Jackson well out ahead of that first offering to open this half. Alex Ben, not a guy like the other lefties on this roster and in this bullpen that are going to overwhelm opposing pitchers. Trying to operate with some breaking balls, just hit spots right around the zone. Don't want to hang anything over the heart of the plate because these lefties don't have the same velocity as the right-handed arms in this bullpen, and they get hit when they make mistakes.
Hit sharply into left field. That bounces around in the corner and gets away from Matthews. Jackson cruises into second base, and he is aboard with his 3rd consecutive hit.
It's much of the same story right there. Ben just leaving one up, another looping breaking ball that catches too much of the middle of the zone. Jackson taking advantage of it, way out in front of it, still does just enough to keep it fair and finds himself on second base.
Now the 8-hitter, Holland, doing the catching. Takes ball one high. A reminder, doubleheader today on Tiger Network. This is game 1 of 2. Game 2 will start 30 minutes after this one ends, which should be around 5 p.m. It'll be Joseph Shavana throwing that one for the Tigers. Whitewater up 14-2 in this one. A runner on second, nobody out. As that's high, 3-0. Whitewater will throw Max Husebo in that game. So 2 of each team's better pitchers going against each other. As Ben loses them, that's ball 4. A 4-pitch walk to Holland, and it'll bring up Brent Frazier.
Yeah, and excited to see Shavana and Husebo duke it out tonight. Should be a little bit more of a pitcher's duel in that one. It's going to be a difficult thing to do, as these Warhawks offensively have certainly gotten their bats going, and now Shavana will have a difficult task of facing them when they're hot and confident.
It's actually a pinch hitter for Whitewater. Bennett Frazier's day is done. Cade Honkkamp in for his first at-bat of the season. That's in the dirt. Runner stays where he is. So I think the question a lot of the Tiger fans still watching or wondering is, how do you bounce back from this? 14 runs in 2 consecutive games given up by this pitching staff. An aggregate score that I think a lot of them don't want to hear. Still an opportunity to split the series, though. Only the first 2 games. How do you make that happen?
I think you get back to what you do so well, and it's swing the bat when you have the opportunity in the box.
Tinker dives, could be 2, throw to first, not in time, but they get the lead runner. A good defensive play by the new 3rd baseman, Kai Tinker.
I think you try and capitalize on things like that as well. Huge play from Tinker right there. And gets an out, keeps the ball in the infield as well to keep this score line where it is. Very impressive, flashing the glove right there. Makes an accurate throw over to second. Hard thing to do from the ground. Easy to take it for granted.
As Alex Najira in the batter's box once again. This is the 6th time he's batting. He's 1 for 5, singled the last time he was up. Sharp of foul.
But back to that talking point a couple moments ago, you get back to what you have done so well as a program. what you've built this thing upon, and it's hit the baseball. I think you also recognize the whirlwind of emotion and the possibility, right? It's been 2 games that haven't looked very pretty or very clean, but you had something similar last weekend where you fall behind 14-5, you find a way to get the job done. Even though these games haven't been the prettiest, they haven't gone the way that this team's wanted them to, you're more than capable of putting the runs up, of cleaning things up and turning it around. Think back to that series against Whitewater 2 years ago. It was a whirlwind of emotion on both sides, back and forth affairs, and you find a way to fight and scratch and claw, and you come away with a couple of walk-off home runs on back-to-back nights.
Tyler Pettit walking it off in game 1 for the Tigers in that 4-game set. And then Brian Schaub hitting a walk-off grand slam. Tigers would split that series as Whitewater would take the other 2. This hit to center field. Peterson makes the catch. Runner on third tags. He scores easily. And it's now 15-2 Warhawks.
Yeah, and that one getting into that jet stream just a little bit, hanging up there, forced Peterson to take a step back. Playing pretty straight up and dead center right there. Really absolutely no shot with Jackson on third base. Demonstrated great speed on the base paths. He was going to score easily even if he was tagging.
So the sac fly for Najira brings up McVeigh for the 3rd time today. Pinch hit early in this game for Adam Kootway. As he takes ball 1 from Bin. McVeigh 0 for 2 in this game. Struck out and reached on an error. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Still a runner on first, 2 down in the inning. Check swing, ball 2.
And a nice idea from Ben right there. He goes hard in on the hands, recognizes the hitter well out in front. Goes back to soft away right there. Just couldn't make a competitive enough pitch.
Hit in the air, sky high. Champness under it, makes the call and the catch to end the inning. Whitewater tacks on another one in the 7th. It's 15-2 at Trinity University. Bottom of the 7th on Tiger Network. 15-2 Whitewater still with the lead as Cam Chapness up to bat for the first time. Got his first career hit last weekend against Babson in game 3. Fouled back nearly to us, skipped off the top of the net. Not quite back to the roof where we are. Down the first base line. But baseball's not all Cam Champness has going on this weekend. Apparently, there is a golf event happening within the Tigers team. As Champness grounds that to second. 1 down in the inning. So it'll be Camden Champness and Josh Whitty facing off against Jack Breezy and Luke Pfeiffer, who threw earlier today. And those two will play against each other in a round of golf to see who wins.
Yeah, a little head-to-head, friendly competition. Keep the spirits high. Keep that fire underneath each other, certainly. Several members of this Trinity staff a part of that head-to-head matchup.
Talked to Jack Breezy about it. He asked me to not say exactly what he told me about it, but he was confident. We can just say that. Sharply grounded the third. Good play there. And throw across the diamond to get Dioli.
Yeah, nice piece from Dioli right there. Hasn't had his number called frequently this year. A couple of dual sport athletes on this Trinity baseball team. Dioli, long snapper for Trinity football. I had a conversation about these two programs yesterday. They've been very prominent on the gridiron. Just a better play over there at third base, making a nice snag, and then long throw, very wisely taking advantage of that long hop, and it's dug out by Frank very well at first.
That was Danny Hopper as defensive substitution for Whitewater. Making a nice pick and then the throw to finish. Another pinch hitter in now for the Tigers. It's Corson Hastings. As he fouls that off to make it 1-1. Inside 2-1. Hastings, a regular starter last season at first base in particular. Made 25 appearances for the Tigers. As he fans on that one, strike two. Hit .236, 7 RBIs, 11 walks drawn. Grounded foul down the first base line. 2 down and nobody on in a 2-2 count.
Yeah, he very nearly took out Nick Lazera, who's now serving his duties as first base coach for the time being.
(15-2) ball game. Bottom of the 7th. Inside, ball 3. Whitewater wanted the call. They do not get it.
Yeah, I don't blame him there. That's a spot that has consistently been called to strike, but more often than not, two right-handed hitters. Hastings standing in on this left-handed batter's box maybe benefits from it.
Grounded foul, and Hastings continues to stay alive.
I'm playing with fire a little bit right here as Hansen hammering in on the hands, but Hastings, a big lefty, it's capable of turning on the baseball.
Mentioned it earlier, Hansen, a native of New Braunfels, coming back home. One of 2 Texas natives on Whitewater. Grounded up the middle, a base hit. As Hastings is aboard with a 2-out knock.
Good job from Hastings right there, getting his barrel out to the baseball. Recognizing pitches in on his hands, is able to fight him off, send him towards first base coach Nick Lazera. That time, got the hands through all the way, got a very good piece of that one.
Now Pierce Matthews batting, that gets away, and Hastings easily takes second. Pierce Matthews steps back into the box. Now with a runner in scoring position, 2 down in a 15-2 game. Whitewater's offense really flexing their muscles all game, all weekend. Won 14-3 yesterday. As that pitch is away. 2-0. The This a 4-game series between these two teams, two ranked opponents. Strike called, outside edge. Whitewater coming into today ranked 22. Tigers were 21 last week. Rose to 19 after their sweep of Babson, who is receiving a vote to be ranked. Grounded to second. Throw in time, and that ends the 7th. 15-2, Whitewater has the lead. Top of the 8th inning in San Antonio. 15-2, Whitewater has the lead, and Matt Skolin remains in the game. He's 1 for 4 today, as that's grounded foul down the first base line. For those of you who are wondering why we're still playing in the 8th inning in a game like this, interconference games usually don't involve a run rule, as both teams want to get a full 4 games with 9 innings each. That's exactly what's happening here as Alex Bin remains on the mound and throws ball 1. Reminder once again, game 2 of this doubleheader happening after this one. 30 minutes after this game ends. It'll be Joseph Shavana versus Max Hughesbow in that one. But Luke, you will not be with us on that telecast, as you will be calling regional basketball action. That's grounded up the middle, base hit for Skolin. Trinity men hosting regional basketball, 4-team pod coming into town. You and Reed are going to be on that game. 2 games, one of them featuring Trinity and UT Dallas, the other one Nebraska Wesleyan and Centenary, who won the SCAC tournament that you also called. You're a busy man, Luke.
Yeah, back and forth. Feel like I'm just being pulled all over the place. Interesting pacing-wise, going from some really quick NCAA men's basketball to some baseball that has been a little slow at times, and some big deficits for these Trinity Tigers in the last 2 days. And we'll see if I can pick it back up in time for tonight's matchup. But a lot going on in campus here in San Antonio. Over to our left, as we're finally outside at one of these games, people warming up in Trinity Multipurpose Stadium. Track meet going on this weekend. 4 baseball games, track meet that's going to go across 2 days, 3 basketball games. Just action-packed here.
Line to right, catch is made, and there's 1 down in the inning. Obviously a lot happening on campus. 2nd year in a row that this university has hosted regional basketball, the women hosting last year and advancing to the next round. What are you looking forward to most about that?
I think the biggest thing is that this is kind of an unknown. All 4 teams here, this regional, are teams that didn't make the NCAA tournament last year.
Grounded through the hole. And a 1-out single for Whitewater.
I think, you know, with the unknowns, you usually get some pretty good games. The unexpected happens in those type of matchups. A lot of really good size. I mean, this has been a great year to be a Trinity Tiger. They've been very, very impressive. Try and bounce back from a loss in their conference tournament, but still just 3 losses on their entire season.
Trinity basketball unable to take the conference tournament. That belongs to the Centenary Gentlemen, who are also in this pod and will play game 1 of a doubleheader for basketball. They face Nebraska Wesleyan. 2 runners aboard in this one, as that's high to Thies. That base hit just a moment ago knocked in by Sam Patton, who has reached base in all 6 at-bats. 4 walks, an error, and a base hit. Swing and a miss, strike 1. One down, 2 on for Thies and a 2-1 count. Still facing Alex Bin. Grounded to Nelson. Throws to second for 1. And the Tigers will be content with that. There's 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, a couple of nice plays from Nelson over there at first base. Seen him a couple of times playing deep beyond that bag, come up with the baseball, make strong throws over to second to get that lead runner. They haven't been able to turn 2, but always valuable keeping that force out in the middle of the infield intact.
Now runners at the corners for Whitewater. First pitch high for ball 1. Nelson not really known for his defense at first base. More known as a power bat in this lineup. But 3 really nice plays over there behind first base. So that's fouled back by Jackson. Whitewater continues to pour it on, not taking their foot off the gas. Up 15-2. Highlighted by a 6-run inning in the 5th. This was a game at one point. It was 5-2. The Tigers finding some momentum offensively, but that 6-run inning really took the air out of the building. As that's low for ball 3. Runners at the corners, 2 down in the inning. 3-1 pitch. Strike 2.
And that's that spot that we've talked about, down and away. More often than not, you can place a fastball right there. You're likely to get a call.
Three-two pitch with 2 down. Runner goes, but fouled off. So he's going to have to make the 90-foot walk back. Talk about the best possible way to start your season for Whitewater. A little bit of unknown with them. Returning most of their guys, still picked to finish 3rd in the WIAC in a tough conference headlined by UW-Lacrosse. As that's ball 4 and Bin loads the bases. But Whitewater finished the last season 30-13, 4 losses to UW-Lacrosse in the regular season, 2 more in the WIAC tournament. So a similar situation that we talked about with Babson last week, trying to get over that hurdle. Another team in their conference that's blocking them from what they want to achieve. And if today is any indication, this Whitewater team seems very equipped to make that leap.
Yeah, and it's been fantastic play on both sides of the ball. Bats have showed up early this season, and the arms have backed them up very, very nicely.
Hit to left field, back at the wall, gone. A 3-run homer for Aaron Holland. And if it was blown open before, it certainly is now. 18-2 Whitewater. They hit their first home run of the game.
Yeah, and finally, the wind switched up on us here in San Antonio and blows out. We get one that leaves the yard. And that one, both outfielders turning and giving chase. It just sneaks over the wall out in left center field. Got out of here rather quickly and just barely did it.
And that'll be the day for Alex Bin. Score correction, it is 19-2 Whitewater. Close to the 20-run mark as we get a new pitcher in San Antonio. Still the top of the 8th in the Alamo City. 19-2 score for Whitewater as a new pitcher comes in. Carter Altman making his Trinity debut. As they say, he went around, strike one. Altman, a position player as well as a pitcher. As that ball's in the dirt. Started him out playing in the infield. Threw a ball, it was an easy 90, and Dave Smith said, I want to see that again. Now getting into a game. As that strike two, he went around. Whitewater batter is Danny Hopper, who made a very nice play at third base an inning ago. High, ball two, evens it at 2-2. Fouled off as Hopper stays alive. Luke Terry had to go to Calgard Gym. He's getting ready to call regional action in the Division III NCAA tournament. Him and Reed Rosales will be on that. As that's fouled off onto the roof. Two-two pitch. Fouled onto the roof again. If you're wondering how far those are away from where I am, pretty far down the third base line, or the first base line, I should say. Though that one was getting closer. Altman now in a 3-2 count. That one was really close to me. That's what the net's for. As Hopper continues to work a good bat and stay good at bat and stay alive. A 19-2 ball game. Nobody on, 2 down in the inning. A 3-run homer that took Alex Bin out of the game. Strike 3 got him looking. The first career strikeout for Carter Altman takes us to the 9th on Tiger Network. Back for the bottom of the 8th on Tiger Network. I got a little ahead of myself in the last half inning. Many of us here at Trinity wish it were the 9th, but still 2 more frames to go. As Hansen continues to work on the mound for the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, up 19-2. That's away for ball 1. The catcher Matthias Riding in and hitting for Trinity. He's been catching these last several innings. Fouls that one off, and it's 1-1. Riding, one of many pinch hitters in this game. Popped up over my head and onto the roof. So foul ball, 1-2 for Riding. Fouled off, Riding stays alive. So Whitewater up 19-2. Still an inning and a half to go in this one in the bottom of the 8th. As Riding goes down, strike 3 looking. A strikeout for Hansen, and there's 1 down in the 8th. But Whitewater, a well-oiled machine. They have been for the past several years. Just an incredible program put together by Coach John Vodenlich. And because of that, he was inducted into the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame as a member of the 2024 class. As that's ball 1 outside. Whitewater, a Division III baseball powerhouse, as that's hit far but foul by Hunter Nevels, who checks into this game for Trinity. Or I should say Kai Tinker, not Hunter Nevels. One pitch. Check swing doesn't go, and it's 2-1. But I got to talk to Coach Vodenlich about that, and he said it was surreal, quite an honor. I would imagine it's like a no-name actor getting to star and be a part of a big Hollywood event. Hit in the air to right, and 2 down as Tinker flies out. But Coach Vodenlich saying how much of an honor it was to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. This is an organization that inducts Division I coaches, Division II coaches, all levels. And it just shows the power that his program has had. 2014 and 2005 national champions. He's been with Whitewater for over 20 years. As Nelson fouls that off. One of the few Tiger starters who's remained in this game the whole way. Hit in the air to left. And that's out number 3. Now we head to the 9th. Still 19-2, Whitewater leads in South Texas. Top of the 9th in San Antonio. New pitcher for the Tigers. It's Josh Whitty, who made his first appearance with the Tigers just last weekend against Babson. First pitch in the dirt, ball 1. Whitty, a transfer 2 years ago from Grinnell College in Iowa, where he played both baseball and golf. Swing and a miss and falling down. So not every day you see that. 1-1 to Mikulski, another pinch hitter for Whitewater. There's strike 2. Whitty didn't pitch at all last year for the Tigers. Got his first opportunity last weekend. Outside 2-2. And as we mentioned earlier, he's going to be a part of that golf tournament, or that golf event, where he will be on a team with Cam Champness. He's playing right behind him at short right now. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Whitty strikes him out, and there's one down in the inning. As now Dominic McVeigh will step up to the plate for Whitewater, but he'll be going against Luke Pfeiffer and Jack Breezy in their golf event on Sunday. As that pitch gets away in the dirt. Whitty apparently played golf at Grinnell as well, so you have Jack Breezy's confidence against Josh Whitty's experience, having played golf at the Division III level. Inside 2-0 to McVeigh. Swing and a miss, strike one. Whitty, one of many pitchers the Tigers have used today in a 19-2 game. There's strike two, able to battle back. Trinity pitching staff had an ERA of 3.44 last season. That was the 8th best in the country. Inside 3-2. Obviously, that's taken quite a hit in these last 5 games. They've allowed 14 or more runs in 3 of their first 5 outings. Hit sharply the center, charging in, not making the play. That ball gets behind him in center field, and it's still rolling. McVeigh rounding third. He's going to try and score, and he does. And inside the park home run for McVeigh, and it's 20-2 Whitewater. Difficult to say whether they'll call that an error or not. It didn't look like it, as center fielder was just trying to dive and make the play. Gets behind him, nobody backing him up. And it's now 20-2. Grounded sharply in a fair ball. Past the dive of Nelson in the corner. Skolin charging into second base. He's thinking 3. Heads for third, and he'll stay there with a triple. So back-to-back extra base hits for Whitewater, and they have another runner in scoring position with only 1 out. As Cooper Pease now up to hit. Runner on third, a chance to extend the lead even further. Strike one on the outside edge. Runner on third for Whitewater is Skolin. Hit into left field, and that'll score a run. Skolin in easily to make it 21-2, an RBI single for Cooper Pease. So Whitewater already up by a significant margin. Not taking their foot off the gas, 21 runs on the board. As Sam Patton remains in the game for the Warhawks. Has reached in every plate appearance. Patton hitting 5th as the designated hitter for the 2nd night in a row. Fouls that off, and it skips back to the net behind him. Whitewater has scored a run in all but 1 inning. Or all but 2, I should say. They were held scoreless in the top of the 3rd and the top of the 4th, and they've done a lot of damage in the other ones. And strike 3 gets him looking the first time Patton doesn't reach, and there's 2 down in the inning. As now up to bat, Austin Wessel, the sophomore from Hayward, Wisconsin, making his first appearance of his Warhawk career. Takes ball 1 outside. Whitewater has scored 2 runs in this inning, an inside the park home run and a triple from Matt Skolin. He came in to score. As the wind blows from right to left field. .2-0 count to Wessel. Strike called on the outside edge. Game 2 of this doubleheader is supposed to start right about now at 5 p.m. That's going to be pushed back 30 minutes at the very least. Grounded to Coney. Absorbs it in the outfield grass and ends the inning. 21 runs put up by Whitewater. They lead 21-2 in San Antonio as we head to the bottom of the ninth. Bottom of the ninth in San Antonio. University of Wisconsin-Whitewater up 21-2 in a strong position to take the first two games of this four-game set. As a new pitcher in for Whitewater, it's Logan Kottmeyer, making his first appearance of his college career. Batting for the Tigers, a pinch hitter, Brett Jones. As Jones takes strike two, was pinch hit towards the middle of this game, has been in ever since. Outside, 2-1. Two and two. Kottmeyer, a first year from North Aurora, Illinois. Went to Caneland High School. As Jones extends his bat and fouls that off. As Jones takes ball three. I don't know quite what happened there behind home plate, but it looks like Cal Coney slid in and kept the baseball for the Tigers side. At least I think that's what happened. They're plotting him still. As Jones takes strike three looking, and there's one down in the ninth. And now Cal Coney will be up to bat. Coney playing in second base. From Los Angeles, California, lives within walking distance to SoFi Stadium. As that's high for ball one. Coney, one of many Dodgers fans on this Tiger team. Rifled to right and past the right fielder. Coney will stop at first base as he is reached with a one-out single. So now fellow sophomore Camden Champness up to bat for the second time today. Working with a runner aboard and one down in the inning. That's ball one away. The Tigers came back 14-5 in the bottom of the 8th, putting up a 10 spot and defeating Babson in game 2. Though a comeback here seems very unlikely. Hit to center field. 2 down in the 9th. Tigers down to their last out. Coney still on first base. Jarrett Phillips, the senior from Marshall, Texas, comes up to bat. Strike 1, outside edge. Phillips, similar to John Adrian Dioli, who we saw hit earlier today. Multi-sport athlete, plays on the football team. He takes strike 2. Phillips, a defensive back, getting in the game today. Tigers down to their last strike. Grounded foul as Phillips stays alive. Down in an 0-2 hole. Tigers down in a 21-2 hole. That gets away. Coney cruises into second, and he's in scoring position. Kottmeyer trying to finish off this game. Game in which Whitewater has dominated offensively. That's high, 2-2. As Phillips not going down easily. Full count. So 2 down. Full count in the 9th inning. Got him looking, strike 3, and the ball game is over. 21-2. The University of Wisconsin-Whitewater has come into San Antonio and taken the first 2 games in convincing fashion. As what a start to the season for the Warhawks. Remember, game 2 of this doubleheader will start in approximately 30 minutes, so take a break, do whatever you need to do, and get back to baseball. Or alternatively, regional action in the NCAA Division III tournament about to get going on Tiger Network between the University of Nebraska Wesleyan and Centenary College, Louisiana. Well, that's it for us in game 1 on Tiger Network. I'm Cole Isaacson, saying so long for now from San Antonio.